Hey, it's Adam with Theros Media, and today I want to show you how to set up a Google Ads campaign properly if you're a HVAC contractor. You set up in the right way so you can be profitable from day one in your campaign. I know it's a big promise, but hopefully we're going to get to deliver it today. So who am I before we get started? I've been advertising for HVAC contractors specifically for the last 5 years. I've been advertising in general for about 10 years, spending money on ads, figuring out what works and what doesn't. But 5 years for the last 5 years for HVAC contractors, advertising Mitsubishi, their southern business unit before they were bought by Trane, and they didn't allow any outside vendors, clients around the country. And then in 2019, I had a partnership agreement to buy into a company, Elmar Services here. You can see the part of the partnership agreement there. In 2021, I ended up leaving. The partnership agreement didn't work out the way we had hoped, but ended up leaving. We did about $3.5 million in sales that year. I don't know why I have the number right here, so I'm not sure why I'm squinting, trying to remember. $3.5 million in sales, 2021. I think the 22 months I was in the field, I sold about $4.5 million of installations. So know a little bit about how to sell HVAC equipment, how to advertise for it. I did all the advertising while I was there in Elmar. So the big key I want you to get today is campaign structure, how to structure your campaigns properly so you know exactly what you're paying for a customer coming in, exactly what you're paying for an estimate, exactly how much it costs you to install it. I mean, from lead to install. And setting up the campaign is a massive key to being profitable in a service line. So if you want to advertise for a specific service line, your business is seasonal, so you can't set campaigns up the way everybody else can. Seasonality, you can turn up campaigns, turn down campaigns throughout the year. So that's important because your business is seasonal. Control estimate costs much better, meaning if you know exactly what your cost per lead is, you can scale that up, scale that down, depending on what you're doing in Google right now. And you can control the estimate costs much better because you're not competing with other service lines in a campaign that's doing well. Help increase sales and installs as well, because if you can bring in, let's say your sales guys know exactly how to sell ductless and know the proper way to do it. It's a little bit different than selling a replacement. Selling ductless is kind of an add-on system, so they know exactly what to do, how to sell it. You can scale up that campaign so you can give those to your sales guys so they can make a ton more sales if they struggle on replacements, or they're great at replacements and don't know how to sell whatever else you're trying to sell. Tankless installations, oil boilers, all that type of stuff. Your sales guys probably specialize in a certain thing and have a certain hit ratio based on what they're selling. You can scale up and give them more of those type of jobs to sell. So that's how it helps and you increase your sales, because you have more control over what you're selling and the leads you give your sales guys. So campaign structure done wrong. So I was doing an audit, and this is how this came about. I was doing an account audit. So you can see today is the 25th. I think this video might be going up the 28th or whatever. So I was doing an account audit for a previous client. This was actually the client that we got rid of to work for Elmar. Previous client, they were going to come back aboard, spend about $140,000 in advertising money. The majority of that was us that we helped them spend. So you can see here they have, their service keywords in one campaign, their installation keywords in another campaign, their repair keywords in another campaign. So everything is jammed into those campaigns, and that might sound good on the onset, but if you take a look inside the campaigns, it's hard to figure out, well, it's not hard to figure out what service line is working, but it's hard to scale the service line that is working because you're putting budget towards other service lines in that campaign. So a heating and cooling service campaign that's probably maintenance or so. HVAC services, water heater and services. So they're getting a phone call at $40 for a water heater service. Usually those end up being, cost per lead. Water heater service is about $400 for a tankless water heater. So it might be profitable for them to do that. Note they need to get that lead for about $20. So you can see here that they're overpaying for the leads they're getting currently, and then their maintenance is about $120 per call. Actually, a little more than that. More than $150 a call. So that's important for them to know, because how do they know what they're bringing in leads for whatever service line they're offering? Then that affects their profitability on the back end, because I ran a company for 2 years. HVAC company, and I know that, different service lines have different profit margins. They shouldn't, but they usually do because of labor, and scaling it up and down is a problem. You could be spending more money than you're making on the job. So done. So I think this is a key word. Yep. So done properly. So these are the campaigns that we set up previously. So done properly, you see that ductless estimates have their own campaign. Tankless water heaters have their own campaign. Everything, HVAC services have their own campaign. HVAC estimates have their own campaign. So everything is done based on the service line, so we can scale up and down depending on what the needs are for the business at that time. And then if you go inside the campaign structure, you'll see that all the ag groups relate to whatever the service line is. And, we group them. We don't do single keyword ag groups. We do single ag word groupings. I don't know exactly how to phrase it, but everything that relates to tankless water heaters that has that same phraseology inside of it, you put inside that. Tankless water heater installation cost, tankless water heater installation have their own ag group. So we bunch everything together. It gets outsized returns. So we're going to walk through a campaign. I'm going to show you in a new account. I've been doing these videos, but I've been using old client accounts and I don't know how to edit. So it's a pain to have to blur things out. So this is a brand new account, just set it up today. So I can shoot videos in it so I can show you how to do things. So we're going to set up a new campaign. And we're going to walk through just a basic service or whatever kind of campaign you want, service installation. But we're going to walk through the campaign structure, how everything's set up, and how you should, what buttons to click. So we're going to go after leads because they're going to go to our website, contact us through our lead form. If you want to do calls, you can do that specifically. You still do leads. So the leads, what is this? The campaign objective. And then on this new account, we don't have any conversions set up. So submit lead form is the one conversion we have set up. So we're going to use that. You want to make sure the conversions are exactly what you want because Google will optimize for that. So you don't want to have a bunch of different conversions inside a campaign unless you have a specific reason to do that if you have different conversions in that campaign. So let's say you have a call extension on your ads. You can put the phone call goal inside the campaign, but make sure you have the goals that you want inside the campaigns, and because Google will optimize for that in the long term. So we're going to continue. We're going to do search ads only. So as of right now, I like to break up different campaigns. Here we go. Search ads only. Performance Max is something different. We're going to shoot a video on that, and we're going to do website visits. So we don't want people to call. This is going to be a website visit. I'll do a click to call ad later. So this is going to be example.com. They're going to use that for the dynamic search ads. And then we're going to do, so naming is important because when you look into an account, you want to know what you should turn up, what you should turn down, what you should look at, what you should not. So this is going to be search ads right here, search, and then we're going to name it the radius of our business. So whatever your business's location is, either your city, 25 miles from your city, 35 miles from your office, whatever it is. And then we're going to name it clicks because it's going to be leads because it's going to be optimizing for leads. And then we're going to name it phrase because this is going to be our phrase match campaign. So we do a phrase match campaign and an exact match campaign for contractors. Typically, that's all you need. Broad match, you might, if you're a bigger contractor spending tens of thousands of dollars a month on Google Ads, you want to expand to broad. You can do broad and phrase in the same campaign, or you can break out the campaigns. But phrase and exact, we like to break those up because it's a lot easier. If you have an exact match keyword that's working well, it's a lot easier to scale that up. And you don't have to look at it much more than you do. Excuse me, let me go back for. You have to look at it a lot less than you do a phrase match campaign for optimization purposes. So the budget, we're going to do $1 a day. So you're going to set your daily budget based on your advertising spend. So whatever you're spending a month, whatever you're spending per service that service line, you're going to set your budget towards that. So you can see here, we broke this up into service and installation, and the budget is going to be different for different platforms, and this will break up your budget for you. So for ductless installations, they have a budget of $107 a day. But as of right now, we're going to stick with one. Now, the bidding strategy is important as well. This is what you're going to directly tell Google what to do for your campaign. Now, unless you have a ton of data in your account, you want to stick with just manual cost per click. A lot of times that is, here we go, manual CPC. A lot of times that's what we stay at for the most part. You want to optimize for conversions, not unless you have conversion value, then I would do conversion value. But typically, if you have conversion value set up and you're advertising for a certain service line, all the values are going to be the same in the campaign. So it doesn't really make sense to optimize for a conversion value unless you have a multi-tiered conversion tracking set up where you're labeling different things on your website differently. But that's a pretty advanced strategy for a company. Now, manual CPC is what you're going to stick with. It's going to give you the most control over your campaigns. So you're going to stick with that. You can rotate the best performing because we're going to set up responsive search ads. We don't really need to rotate. They're going to rotate automatically, but it's going to rotate the 2 or 3 responsive search ads you set up on your account. So we're going to click next. A lot of times with regular search ads, I didn't rotate automatically. I wanted to test out different ad creative, so I made it rotate evenly. We're going to exclude the search partners because Google is going to give you all the traffic you need for the most part. Unless you're running a huge account, have a huge amount of ad spend, you don't need to include search partners. Now, your location is going to be important. You're going to set up your presence as your target. So people in or regularly in that target location, that's going to be what you set up. And then you're going to enter in your office, click on advanced search, and enter in the office location based on, exactly where you service. So we know most contractors service within 25 miles of their location. Your address is going to be here. Google's going to find your address. And then you're going to click target when it pops up. My Google is running pretty slow right now, so let's cancel this and then go to the next screen so we can set up the campaign because we're almost done, believe it or not. The initial setup, then you have to set up the keywords, all that type of stuff. I'm going to pause this real quick until this gets going. All right, now Google's back working with me. I'm going to click the whole United States just for this example, but you're going to do enter your location in your service area. English is going to be the language you typically target unless you are fluent in other languages and you have people there who can speak it. Audience segments. This is going to be the actual targeting for the campaign. Now, typically, for a broad search campaign, we're really going after the intent of the searcher based on the keyword and not so much the targeting of the searcher, what group they're in. Now, there are a couple climate control. There are a couple audiences you want to enter in here. Anything that you can think of is going to work for you. Climate control and air quality is going to be a big one for HVAC contractors. And then sometimes we'll type in other things, but this doesn't matter as much, but it will inform you for your other campaigns. So take everything as a learning experience. This will inform your other campaigns, like your display campaigns, your video campaigns, on what audiences to go after based on who's clicking on your ads. So we are going to go and find people here that we think might be interested in our stuff, and they're going to be in observation. So this is not going to actually take into account and only target them. This is just going to show you of the people in that specific targeting option who clicked on your ad. Dynamic search ads, we're going to leave this blank for right now. That's going to be, you can enter this if you want to, but then you're going to set up a dynamic search ad. I don't want to do that right now. You typically want to have one dynamic search ad per campaign, per service line. And that's going to be based on the landing page you give it. So only give it one landing page at a time. So example.com, I'll show you how to do this. You know what? I said I'm not going to do it. Let me go through it. Example.com. Again, all day, typically, unless you have a specific reason not to, like a click-to-call campaign, you might want to set up just during the day. But a lot of times you have after-hour staff that you can set up whatever for tomorrow. So typically all day is what you want to do. Don't worry about the campaign URL options. You're going to set the URL inside the final URL, your destination URL later. Dynamic ads, let's click next. So this is going to be your dynamic ad group because you set that up inside your bidding. Specific web pages. You always want to give it a specific web page unless there's a specific reason not to. The reason not to might be, I don't know, maybe you're tapped out on your current keywords, you're going to expand. For contractors, I'm not exactly sure why you would do all your website pages, just landing pages for you. Example.com/landing page. Landing page. There we go. And then you're going to add that in. It's going to give you a bid for that specific landing page because you can do multiple landing pages. All right. And then it's going to set up a ad for you based on your landing page. This one, example.com, does not have anything done, so we're done. All right. So now we are finished with a dynamic. Now there's a way to use a dynamic to expand your keyword targeting, and that's exactly why we use it. We don't use it for any other reason but to expand our keyword targeting, to find keywords that we didn't think of setting up. So the campaign is here. It's ready to go. I'm going to click publish. And the reason I'm publishing it now is so I can go back and edit it later. But again, the dynamic keyword or dynamic campaigns for contractors specifically is to expand your keyword reach. So that's what I like to call it. Because there's always going to be keywords that are so long tail you never think of them. Even the best, keyword generating tools will not give you these type of keywords because it's just, I think the stat is 50% of all the searches that happen on a daily basis are new searches inside Google. So it's never going to give you, any keyword tool is never going to give you what you're looking for. So I turned the campaign off so I don't spend any money yet because we're going to keep setting it up. And we're going to do enabled and paused. All right. So naming is important to me because I like to look into an account and see exactly what's going on. Hold on one sec. Why is not? I'm going to pause this real quick and then hopefully the campaign will set up. I'm going to refresh the page. All right, just a quick page refresh. Typically I use the ads editor tool and not the not this tool. So naming groups is also important to me because I want to look in here and know exactly what's working and what's not at any given time. So it's going to be dynamic. We just name it dynamic for the ad group. Now I'm going to make one more ad group so I can show you the strategy behind making the ad groups inside the campaigns. So let's say this is a campaign for ductless because I know ductless very, very well. I know most HVAC very, very well, except geothermal. But that's no fault but my own. My company didn't sell it while I was working for them. So we're setting up an ad group. This is going to be ductless installations. I'm not going to show you how to go through keywords research. We can, if you are interested in that, just leave me a comment below, and I'll go through just a quick video on keyword research. So I'm going to put all the ductless installation keywords I can think of, and keep in mind grouping is going to be important. So these are only going to be related to ductless installations and have ductless installations, ductless installs in the keyword somewhere. I'm not going to include price. I'm not going to include cost. Those are important. Cost is better than price. And just a tip for you, I don't know the reason why that. I thought it through, and I think people are looking for pricing or price shopping. People are looking for cost. Yeah, it doesn't actually make sense, but people looking for cost are looking for the cost of installation. People are looking for price are looking to price shop, is what I took that to mean. I didn't, while I was there, I should have asked more people to, hey, why'd you click on this keyword? I should have brought that with me on the installations, but I did not. So that was my fault. So ductless install, ductless installation, ductless install, install ductless system. So you can see what I mean by everything's grouped together. And some of these are going to be, I'm going to do everything is phrase, nothing is broad, because I don't want to let Google off the rails too much. And these three work for me for now. Ductless system install. These keywords, so phrase is not the phrase anymore. Phrase is more like a modify broad now. So this is going to pick up this at the same time because I have the same 3 keywords in here. But this is going to pick up this now and this now because it works like modify broad. Modify broad was something like this before. And you can get rid of all 4 of these keywords because phrase match just match the exact phrase in someone's searching. But phrase works like a modify broad now. Ductless install system. So I would do keyword research to figure out all the keywords that relate to this. Ductless mini split install. I'm not going to bore you with the keyword, but the general rule I want to get through is make sure they all are very, very related. Nothing out of, nothing questionable if it's related. You want to have the same group intent when people are searching so that your ads work very, very well that way. Save and continue. All right, then we're going to do responsive ads. It's going to do that automatically, I believe. Yep. So you're going to fill out 15 headlines, 4 descriptions. Fill out as much information as you possibly can. Any tips on writing? If you aren't that great at writing ad copy, you can use a tool called AnyWord. AnyWord's a AI copywriter. I use it to refine ad copy. I don't use it to generate ad copy. I never like how the tools like that generate copy. But refining and give you more ideas for your copy is what I use it for. So for this, I would do an exact term. The near use are going to be, I'm going to put that in here, but that's going to be a totally separate ad group, the near use. Get your ductless installed, and you want to make sure you have your keywords at least 4 or 5 times inside the headlines, almost exactly. So the ad strength doesn't matter for performance, but it does matter for impressions. So that's an important piece to have, a good to excellent ad strength. So we're done there. We're going to save and continue. Actually, no, I got to fill out the rest. Okay. So it didn't let me do that. Too few actions. I'm going to pause this and fill this out so you're not going to be bored with this. Give me a sec. All right, now that the ad is done, we are going to do another important part of the overall campaign strategy. We're going to take our keywords and exclude them, the exact match terms, from the other ad groups that we have. Meaning, all these keywords right here. So I'm going to take all these keywords. Usually I download an Excel spreadsheet, but as of right now, I'm not going to do that because that would be too long for this video. So, excuse me. I'm going to take all these keywords. I'm going to go back to the dynamic search campaign just to show you, but you're going to do it for every single ad group you have. Usually for a good campaign, I like to keep the ad groups small depending on the budget. For under $100, keep it at a maximum of 10 to 15 ad groups. There's no hard and fast rule, but the more you have in there, the less each one spends, especially if you have high volume keywords in there. If you don't have high volume keywords in there, the number of ad groups doesn't really matter too much, but don't go crazy. Now, if you see I clicked inside the negative keyword, so I clicked inside the ad group, and on the side here, you'll see keywords, and click on negative keywords. So I'm going to add the negative keywords from the other ad group into this ad group, not the campaign, the ad group. So you always want to have a negative keyword list, a universal negative keyword list. That's a great thing to have, especially for your business. A lot of times for contractors, you'll get keywords that relate to cars because cars have air conditioning too. I have a keyword list of like 3,000 keywords, and I'd say probably 1,000 of them relate to cars. So everything is exact match. You're going to exclude the exact match term from the other grouping inside all of your ad groups that are not the same ad group. Meaning, like I said, if you're having a dynamic campaign, you're going to exclude every single keyword you have inside the campaign from this negative keyword group as an exact match. All the other ad groups you have is going to be a little time intensive to do, but it's going to benefit you in the long run. So if you have, let's say, 4 or 5 different ad groups, you take this ad group's keywords, make an exact match of that keyword, and exclude them from the other 4 ad groups. So I'll show you here. I know it's a little hard to visualize. I'm saying it and I'm getting slightly confused and I know what I'm saying. So I'm going to make another duplicate here just so you see. So I'm going to exclude ductless installation, the original ad group keywords from ductless installation number 2. So I'm going to take these keywords and exclude them from all the other ad groups in this campaign. I think I got that across pretty well. The reason that's important is because your campaigns will cross each other and the click-through rate on your ads will go down, causing your cost per click to go up. So it's a bad cycle to get into, especially if the keywords relate. So if you're doing a phrase match, you're giving Google a little leniency to be creative with your keywords, but not as much if you did broad match. If you're doing broad match, you definitely want to exclude your keywords from each other, because you'll see there are 4 or 5 different campaigns, depending on how big your campaign is. 4 or 5 different ad groups will be spending money on each other's keywords, and it's a pain in the butt, and it's a pain in the butt. So again, ad group number 1 is going to be excluded from ad group number 2 and 3. Number 2 is going to be excluded from 1 and 3. Number 3 is going to be excluded from 1 and 2. All the keywords. So hopefully that helps. This is the basics on how to set up a campaign, right. Let me know what you would like in the comments if you want me to go into how to set up campaigns further. So meaning all the campaign extensions, dynamic extensions, conversion tracking, which is probably a big one, all that type of stuff. Display campaigns, I'm going to make a video for that. Performance Max and YouTube videos, I'm going to make a video for that. But this one is just for search ads. This is just the overall strategy on how to set up a campaign for an HVAC company. So I've been Adam with Theros Media. Hopefully this helped you, and we'll talk to you soon.